Close your eyes and project yourself exactly 100 years into the future. The world continues without hesitation. Streets exist where you once stood. Voices speak languages that never formed in your mouth, and objects you touched daily are either dust or relics without context. Not only will you be gone, it will be as if you were never here at all. Not only will you be absent, so will everyone who ever knew you. No witnesses remain. No memory loops back to your name. The places that felt permanent dissolve into anonymity. We move through life assuming we are central characters in a continuous narrative, yet history treats us as temporary annotations, quietly erased during revisions. Every insecurity, every private fear, every moment of shame that once felt unbearable will vanish without ceremony. The universe does not pause to acknowledge the loss. It simply continues, indifferent and intact. We often believe our era is different. Surrounded by archives, profiles, and data, we mistake documentation for permanence. But technology decays faster than memory ever did. Devices become obsolete, formats unreadable, servers abandoned. The digital identities we curate, our images, messages, searches, and thoughts, exist only as fragile electrical patterns. One silent failure is enough to erase them. The cloud offers no transcendence. It merely postpones disappearance. Paradoxically, the most recorded generation may also be the most thoroughly erased, dissolved into corrupted files and broken links. Why does this realization disturb us so deeply? Across civilizations, humans have clung to the idea of legacy as a defense against extinction. We carve names into stone, write books, erect monuments, hoping to anchor ourselves in time. Yet history reduces even emperors to footnotes. Their desires, fears, and struggles compressed into sterile summaries. The obsession with being remembered becomes a subtle prison, forcing us to perform for an imagined future audience instead of inhabiting our present reality. We exhaust ourselves, building monuments for ghosts who will never arrive. Here is the discomfort most reflections avoid. Even our acceptance of being forgotten can become another performance. Another way to appear enlightened. Another quiet attempt at superiority. We tell ourselves we have transcended ego while still measuring our detachment. This is the fracture. True acceptance does not feel virtuous. It feels destabilizing. When you fully internalize that nothing will remain, there is no audience left, not even an abstract one. And without witnesses, the question becomes unavoidable. Who are you when no meaning is extracted from your actions? Who are you when nothing is harvested from your choices? The universe does not respond to your virtues or condemn your failures. It provides no script, no applause, and no final evaluation. Philosophers like Albert Camus describe this tension as the absurd, the collision between our hunger for meaning and the unresponsive silence of existence. Most lives are spent resisting this silence, demanding acknowledgement, but the silence is not hostile. It is neutral. And neutrality removes obligation. It also removes excuse. Camus illustrated this condition through the myth of Sisyphus, condemned to endless effort without lasting outcome. We often live the same way, pushing boulders of reputation, status, and accomplishment, terrified of their inevitable collapse. Meaning is commonly placed at the summit, but Camus suggested otherwise. The descent, the moment when expectation dissolves, is where freedom appears. When the boulder rolls back down, Sisyphus is no longer working for gods, history, or permanence. He belongs to himself, briefly and fully. And in that descent, effort becomes choice rather than obligation. Modern life operates under a quiet tyranny, the belief that today only matters if it produces tomorrow. Pleasure becomes preparation, love becomes investment, rest becomes strategy. This orientation converts life into rehearsal, a constant deferral of presence. But when you accept that no final record will remain, tomorrow loses its authority. Existence no longer requires justification through accumulation. Authenticity replaces achievement as the measure of value, not because it is noble, but because nothing else survives. This freedom is not gentle. Without legacy, excuses dissolve. You cannot hide behind future impact or deferred purpose. The absence of permanence removes both pressure and alibi. Many prefer meaning imposed from outside, even if it is false. Rules are comforting. Scripts are soothing. True insignificance demands responsibility without reward. It asks whether you would still choose your actions if nothing echoed afterward, if no lesson was extracted, if no one ever knew. Consider experiences that exist only briefly: a sunset, a note of music, a passing sensation. Their disappearance does not diminish their intensity. It completes it. The value was never in preservation, it was in presence. Life operates under the same condition. Moments matter not because they endure, but because they occur. Consider how much of your own life you have already forgotten. The mornings without witnesses, the thoughts never spoken, the griefs that left no trace. Most of who you are has already vanished into silence, even while you are still breathing. We fear being forgotten by the future, yet ignore that we are already being forgotten by our own history. This is not a tragedy. It is the hidden architecture of life. The most profound parts of your existence were never meant to be archived, only experienced. When we demand to be remembered, we ask a stranger to validate a version of us they will never know. True intimacy exists in what is unrecorded. The quiet conversation with yourself at night. The brief moment when the light on a wall made everything feel bearable. Those moments matter because they disappear. By releasing the need for a witness, you protect their meaning. You are not a statue built for permanence. You are a fire in a dark forest, brief, intense, and complete in its burning. When nothing is archived, experimentation becomes possible. Failure loses its permanence. Without an eternal audience, identity becomes flexible. You are no longer a monument under construction, but a participant in motion. Movement does not require proof. Experience does not need validation. Living no longer needs justification. Nietzsche described this stance as amor fati, the love of one's fate, not passive acceptance, but active embrace. To value limitation as intensifier, to understand that scarcity gives weight. What lasts forever loses urgency. What occurs once becomes invaluable. Not despite its fragility, but because of it. When the world eventually forgets you, it will not mark a failure. It will simply confirm what was always true, that life was never meant to be preserved, only lived. The discomfort does not disappear. It remains unresolved. And perhaps that unresolved tension is the most honest place to stand. So the question is not, how will you be remembered? But, what do you choose when nothing is recorded? Who do you become when even meaning itself stops watching?